self-care routine, your daily self-care routine, your whenever time self-care routine. So what you can do is you can use this time to participate in the healing, to fall asleep, or to just set this aside and let the video play. While you just take care of yourself, you have your self-care routine. The most important part is that you are healing yourself and you're working towards the self-care each and every day. So, for all my new babies, welcome, 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 babies. And for all my returning babies, welcome, welcome back. Mama loves you. Okay, let's get started. So, we start the session off with a prayer. It is not a religious prayer. It is just a prayer to root us in our individual healing experience and bring us together as a community and a collective. And because consent matters, do I have your permission to say a prayer? Okay, may I place my hands on your heart? children do it to parents, feel like they have to stop their life for something. I talked about when I was younger, I was about 19, I had to be a caregiver for my grandmother. I remember thinking, oh, I'm gonna stop my life to take care of her, and it didn't end up in that way. And I had a lot of guilt around that, and I realized later on, she lived her life. She lived a very, very full life, and it would have not been fair for me yourself and you say, oh, I love you. I appreciate you. I believe in you. Anything that you want, we will make it happen. Everybody's looking for that in a relationship. Everyone wants to be that in a relationship. But put that to the side. Don't put that much pressure on a relationship. There is only one person in this world that you are required to, do whatever you gotta do to make it work, and that is you. And the more that you fill yourself up, the more that peaceful relationships will come your way. The more that peaceful interactions will come your way, because they no longer need or have to have that pressure in it. Every time you look into the mirror, if you want to say it or if you just want to look into your eyes and whisper it on the inside, say, I love you. Look at yourself, say, I love you, I love you, I love you. Anything you want, I will do within my power to get it. I trust you. You are my top priority. I will never let anyone disrespect you. I will never let you have unhealthy boundaries in environments and situations that don't work for you. I'm always rooting for you. That's the type of energy you gotta have on the inside. That is what heals that toxic love. That is what allows you to be free from those environments, those situations, those things that have been going on way too long. By having that unconditional self-love. But I mean actually having actions behind it, saying, baby, what do you want? That's what you want. We gonna go get it. We're gonna go get it right now. Having that energy with yourself and being able to connect there and just watch when you pay attention to this, when you treat yourself good, others are attracted to you. You ever see somebody, they're in a relationship and then everybody's interested in them because they're in a relationship? But can you imagine that when you're in the strongest relationship with yourself, you will be able to attract what you want, but you're no longer desperate for it. You will just allow it to come freely because you give yourself what you need. You give yourself this love and this nurturing. For example, if maybe one of your goals is a family. I want to have a family, I want to have a partner, I want children, X, Y, and Z. So what do you feel like is important for a family? Well, nurturing, support, things like that. Okay, well, you nurture yourself. You take care of yourself. You may not want to spoil your kids, but spoil yourself. Support yourself. Make sure that your finances are where they need to be so that when this family finally shows up in your life, you know how to be nurturing. You know how to have great boundaries. You know how to be supportive. Do it now. Work backwards and it will come to you. Instead of placing the pressure on someone else or something outside of you saying, oh, I can't start my life until this happens. Do it. You decide and define whatever life you want to have. You decide and define how your story looks. It doesn't have to look like some traditional story. It doesn't have to look like something that you've always thought. It can grow, it can change, it can work with wherever you're at in your life. And when you realize that you have so many options, you no longer have to desperately stay in the toxic dynamics that no longer work for you. And that is putting no blame on anyone. It is simply saying, time to move, time to go, time to flow in the right direction for you. That is what that healing is. So breathe into this. Work through this energy. Open yourself up. Allow love to flow in. What does it feel like? What does this unconditional love feel like? Shower yourself with what you need. What is important to you? Love yourself. Love yourself greater and more fuller than anyone could ever love you in life. Love yourself. Because you demonstrate to other people how to treat you. And you work through all that stuff you learn in your relationships with people as you go along. But take your time. Don't put too much pressure yourself from toxic love or codependent dynamics, you also got to understand that that might, trigger some people, that might make them feel some type of way because they may have chosen to stay in their dynamics. That's on them. Exhale. 2 more. Exhale. Final breath. And just let it all, let it all go. Let it all go. Let it all go. Okay, so if you're new to the community, we start this session off with a prayer. It's not a religious prayer, it's just a prayer to root us in our individual healing experience and bring us together as a community and as a collective. And because consent matters, to have your permission to say a prayer. Okay, hearts open, relax. Okay, you ready? Dear universe, and all for the highest vibrational good only, please connect us to our highest self and validate information for our highest good only. Please allow us to release what we need to let go and embrace what allows us to grow. Let our journey encompass the lineages, traditions, religions, and spiritual paths that bring light out through us to share with others. I say all of this in the name of I am. I say. Okay, good job. Now, let's just go in, and I'm just going to work a little bit through your aura, just to kind of prepare you for this shadow work. And so I think nowadays people know the difference between shadow work and light work. I'll give you a little synopsis, but I'm not going to go into it too much. So shadow work is when you're going in to heal trauma, past pain, and kind of get over if you're feeling stuck. And light work is when you want to manifest and bring things into your life. Now there are times where you're doing both at the same time, but most of the time what's actually happening is that a lot of people will want to go in and do light work. You want to bring the love of your life into your life, but you are an energetic hoarder. I'm not saying you babies, I'm just saying that there are some people who are energetic hoarders. And so can you imagine in your house, you're full of stuff, and then you want to go get a new furniture set? It doesn't make sense. And so shadow work helps us to clear out and make space so that what is right for us can actually have somewhere to be placed when it comes into our life. So just exhale and just release any pain, any confusion, any doubt. And sometimes it can be memories. Release any memories associated with love that has expired and passed its expiration date. But also the healing love of family, mothers, fathers, siblings, the healing love of friends, people important to you, community, collective. Whenever we're in a community that is very vulnerable too, so we can be in love and have a very loving energy towards our community. And sometimes communities have a weird kind of energy to them. Doesn't have to be all the time, but sometimes they can have a weird energy to them. And so you might fall in love with a community and then they start doing some real weird stuff. By weird stuff, I mean like being mean or something that you didn't sign up for. And here it is, you were so open and you were so vulnerable, and now you feel like, oh, this really, really hurts. And so that could also be a healing that applies to all love from an energetic perspective is pretty much the same. Rather, it is that you want to express that in a romantic way or a platonic way or within family. So when you start to balance and regulate yourself energetically, it heals a lot of things at one time. So it's not just, okay, let me go do this love healing. Okay, let me go way to experience some of the stuff we're talking about on the Patreon community. Okay, so now just go to the heart and release. 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 Now, I want you to take 3 deep breaths. And the reason why I'm always telling you to breathe is a lot of times we can breathe in a very shallow way and we're not getting as much energy as we need in our body anyway. So take a deep breath in, a representation of bringing in cleansing energy. Exhale, release, a representation of letting go. Inhale. Exhale. Final breath. Okay, good. Now let's open up and reveal any messages that may be coming across. I always ask, why are you experiencing this? From a macro view. And whatever answer comes up, don't judge it, don't doubt yourself, just trust it. And even if it doesn't make sense, just take note of it and maybe reflect on it later, see if it applies then. You know, all of this stuff, really, especially when it comes to love healings, it really is just an exercise of loving ourselves. Love is that too. Even romantic love. It's really less about the other person and more about how do we allow ourselves to be treated in relationships? How do we conduct ourselves in relationships? And that actually has nothing to do with other people. It is just an exercise of how much we care for ourselves. Because when you love yourself and you care for yourself, you don't treat other people like that, and you don't allow people to treat you in that kind of way of not being loving, not being supportive, of gaslighting you, of wanting you to remain sick or them to remain sick, or wanting the dynamics to not grow and to remain stagnant. The universe presents different opportunities for us to say, my first job is to love myself, and I remove myself from circumstances, situations, and people who don't embody that same feeling about themselves, as well as create an environment that make it difficult for myself. And I want to stress the point here that it is not a situation in which someone is doing something to you and it's just, oh, whoa, life is happening to me. We all consent to be in different dynamics, so we can remove the judgment. And when we remove the judgment, we can make it easier on ourselves of, why did I stay so long, or why did I let somebody treat me like that, or why, whatever the what ifs are, why didn't this work out, blah, 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 all of that stuff. You can release that when you understand we all work in a dynamic together. And once I realized what I needed to know, it was time for me to go. It's that simple. Much harder in application though. But that's how a lot of things in life are. So relax your energy here. And let's just take out any sadness, any fear, any confusion, any doubt, any wonder of the what ifs. against the earth and breathe in. Go through the crown, go all the way down, and feel how good it feels just to sit in this moment with yourself, just to be in love with yourself, with the moment. Demonstrate to yourself what real love feels like, how to expect that from others. Sit in your own greatness and happiness. Keep breathing. A couple more deep breaths here. And release and let go. Let all of those things go. All of those experiences that no longer serve you. Everything that gives you doubt or confusion. Let it go. Remove it from your energy. Remove it from your body. Be in this moment with yourself. And trust in your process. Trust in who you are. Trust that everything you're experiencing will make sense. Trust in it. Couple more breaths. Just to work on this area a little bit. And release it. And move it through the physical body. And again, take a couple more moments and just breathe, sweetie. Breathe sweetness. Breathe in and out. Enjoy every moment of the day. Enjoy every experience. Enjoy every time that you get to wake up and experience the newness of today. That you get to live in this moment. That you get to feel all your senses. That you could connect with all those loved ones here and on. And that you are protected and you are connected and you are loved infinitely, and so on and so on. When you start walking in life from that perspective, it becomes less lonely. It becomes less confusing. It becomes less fearful. Things start to settle down. The dust starts to settle. And you start to see everything clearly. And sometimes things happen at a certain time. Because that's when it's supposed to happen. And sometimes things don't happen at a certain time because it's not yet time for that. So just learn how to feel comfortable in whatever stage of life you're in, and just breathe through that. Well, babies, I hope you enjoyed our session, and I hope that you take care of yourself as much as you can each and every day. Okay, sweetness, all about love is healing. So if you're new to the community, welcome, 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 babies. This is your nightly self-care routine. A place where you relax, take care of yourself, and do what you need to do during this time. So, welcome, welcome to all my new babies. And welcome back to my returning babies. Mama loves you. Okay. So we start our session off with a prayer. It is not a religious prayer. It is just a prayer to root us in our individual healing experience and to bring us together as a community and as a collective. And because consent matters, to have your permission to say a prayer. May touch you. Dear universe, and all for the highest vibrational good only, please connect us to our highest self and validate information for our highest good only. Please allow us to release what we need to let go and embrace what allows us to grow. Let our journey encompass the lineages, traditions, religions, and spiritual paths that bring light out through us to share with others. up in many ways in our life. And if this is not your first time here with me, you know I really, really emphasize self-love being the key to having healthy love and healthy loving dynamics. But love can teach us a whole lot of things. It can teach us patience, kindness. It can help us self-reflect to make changes. And sometimes love is one of those only areas where we will allow ourselves to be vulnerable enough to explore and make changes. Even if you don't consider yourself a person who is vulnerable with others, the fact that you even have that awareness in that space of love is much more than, perhaps other dynamics in a person's life. But love carries messages. Always feel that when you connect to the universe, divine, God, or whatever it is that you specifically believe in, I tell you all the time, that's your business to figure out what you believe in. That ain't got nothing to do with me. But when you connect to whatever is out there, that is pure, unconditional love. Unconditional. And I talked about this before. A lot of people have fear-based love. Fear-based love in their faith, their spiritual path, their religion. Fear-based love in their relationships, family, romantic, platonic. Fear-based in themselves, being super critical. And I am of the perspective that if love is unconditional, it has to be unconditional. As someone who really, really enjoys history, like y'all know I love history, like I will go down, and I mean like human history, like I go down random tangents about us as a species, as someone who is like that, what I've noticed as I've learned more and more is that a lot of fear base that is surrounding faith and religion is more about control and less about actually the meat and potato of the religion. All of these kind of rules and regulations that are pretty much socially constructed a lot of times cause more harm than help. And with that perspective, when you connect to, and this is what I like to call, the universe, source, God, that's what I like to say. I like to say the universe. When you connect to the universe, it is unconditional love. You don't have to do anything. There's not a particular set of rules. And I think that is super important when it comes to why people struggle with self-love. Because if at the core of your understanding of the divine is conditional, you make your own self-love conditional as well. But the core of your structure with the divine, the universe, is unconditional. You then stop requiring yourself to have to be at a certain place in life, have to have a certain thing before you start loving yourself and really truly appreciating yourself. And that can be really hard to realize because we live in society. We have societal norms, different societies, different norms, but us as a species, we tend to kind of collect in groups. And in order to be accepted by a group, whether that is, a clique or a larger society, there are certain norms and there are certain rules. And the moment that a person realizes that on the individual journey, the rules are not as helpful, maybe on a social, systemic kind of group dynamic is a little bit different, but on an individual level, those rules are not helpful. I think it puts the person in this kind of existential crisis, because what do you do when I think that we can separate and coexist between the two. We can be in a world where there are certain rules and expectations, but what is, great for the gander may not be good for the goose. I hear this all the time because what I notice when I look at kind of like the big picture of things is a lot of people want to get out of whatever they're stuck in. Maybe they're stuck in relationship dynamics that are not working. Maybe they're stuck in a certain socio-economic situation. Maybe they're stuck in a certain health condition and they want to get out of it, but they will only use the parameters that have already been preset in order to be successful. Versus as an individual, there are numerous ways, millions of ways to get out of whatever is holding you back. But when you go by already pre-established routes, there's only thousands of ways or maybe hundreds of ways, so it limits you. So I'm of the perspective that any person can completely, drastically change their life on their own. But just because you drastically change your life doesn't mean that society will drastically change how it interacts with you. Does that make sense? We gonna get to the love, babies, but I just kind of want to explain to why these seeds are planted for how people could, feel about love. But just because you drastically change your life doesn't mean society follows through. I am still a black woman. I'm still a gay woman. I'm still a woman who, comes from a lot of marginalized backgrounds. I'm in no confusion of, the scenarios and situations that I can see in the world. But I also am an individual who is strongly connected with their internal path. So I don't really see any obstacles for me. Like, things seem like when I want something or when there's something that is in my focus, I feel like, I can see how it's attainable. And I think I don't want as much as I used to. When I kind of looked at things from a social perspective, I wanted more. But as an individual perspective, I feel like I have so much already. I don't want as much. And I think what I do want is typically I want things to be more meaningful. And can I do something that is more meaningful? And what amount of effort really goes into that? Versus on a social or a societal level, the energy is different. The energy is like, wanting the collective. Let me not say collective, because I feel like collective, I want to use collective in a different way. Wanting society to accept you with the same level of acceptance that you give yourself. It's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. But sometimes people put the standards of their life based off of society. Well, I'll accept myself as much as society accepts me. And if you have a bunch of marginalized identities, that's going to be very difficult. Also, if you have more privileged identities, it's also going to be difficult to make changes. It's going to be difficult to want to transform the soul, because if society is propping you up, it's going to be hard to make changes in love. It's going to be hard to make changes in how you see the world and actually doing more meaningful things, because why would you, So I said all of that to say, you are never truly stuck. If you ever feel like in love that you don't have the love you're looking for, that the right person has not shown up, that you just don't feel good about yourself, that you feel very conditional, like, when I look this way, or when I have this thing, or when I'm at this space, or when I make this amount of money, or whatever it is for you, then the right person, I hope the right person shows up, or I hope that my parent will treat me right, or I hope that or I'll be surrounded by friends that are X, Y, and Z. Baby, when you put conditions on the love that you have for yourself, love will never come. It won't come, or it will come in a very conditional way. And the crazy thing about it is you'll probably outgrow the condition before it shows up in your life. So having this connection to the universe in a very unconditional way of just, universe, love on me. I'ma love myself, I was like, I'm gonna love on myself. Universe, love me. And I'ma love myself. I'ma love myself wholly, because I think the most respectful thing that we can do as, energy in the universe is to just be grateful to be energy in the universe. To evolve. I think that in our evolution as a species, in our evolution on this planet, all of the living things on this planet, we're moving closer and closer and closer to a higher understanding of things. Earlier in our species, okay, this is my little tangent. Earlier on in our species, we probably were much more fight or flight. I would think that, single-celled organisms just getting there and learning to develop like eyes and, hearing stuff, but let's say we're jumping in time and, we're kind of fully formed beings now, and we're much more, fight or flight. We're much more in that moment, in that adrenaline, just trying to survive by, finding our meals and things like that, which is, unfortunately in a modern world, people are still trying to survive to simply just get meals. And, during those times, it would make sense that our body would be in a constant state of anxiety to keep us alive. Now it doesn't really make sense, and the anxiety probably comes from, we have a lot of stimulation, we have a lot of mental stimulation, we have a lot of information. This is the age of information, so we have a lot of information being thrown at us at one time, and that can just completely boggle down the brain. The brain needs rest. Even if we're not physically taking movement, the brain still needs rest. And if you have all of these social norms, this is how you should be in love, this is how a relationship should go, this is how you should love yourself. Nope, I changed it. That's how that you should love yourself. It can just be so overwhelming on various levels. And so when I say love is healing, what I'm saying to that is you have to separate yourself from the individual and the systemic. When you really want to work on making changes, when you really want to transform your life, you got to sit in the individual energy and say, fuck all this shit. I'm gonna be over here in the individual, and I'm going to drastically change things. I'm not gonna let people treat me crazy. I'm not gonna treat people crazy. Any goal that I want it to be meaningful. I don't want to just say I want something. I want it to be meaningful. Anything that is in my heart is possible to happen, and if it doesn't happen, it's because there's something bigger and greater along the path. And 5, I don't have a fifth, but that's the energy. And sometimes you got to separate yourself from people. You cannot be around the people who are not vibrating at the energetic level you're at and expect to make changes. That's your fans, your family, and that's romance. Okay? Sometimes you got to let those people go as you are growing, and then of course you can re-invite them, or you will meet new people and things like that. But if you feel like you're suffering in love, you haven't found the right person, take a step back and really just love on yourself. Take care of yourself. Take a break, from that energy, and just treat yourself. Demonstrate to yourself how you would want a partner to treat you. Demonstrate to yourself how you would want your family to treat you. Demonstrate to yourself how you want your friends to treat you. And after a while, you set a standard for yourself. You create a routine for yourself. You create an expectation. So when you reintroduce yourself to your family or new people, you expect a certain thing, and they gotta straighten up or ship out. They cannot be in your energy, in your space, if they don't do that. But when you never take yourself out of that environment, you will constantly make excuses to kind of drag people along and allow them to treat you in a type of way. And the way we allow people to treat deserving we feel of love. And the purpose of love is not that. The purpose of love is healing. You know, if you've ever had like a really difficult medical condition that you've got to the other side, some experience a sense of, wow, this was trying to tell me something. And seeing the beauty in even kind of the darkest of those times. But also, it doesn't mean that now you just have to live by a standard where you gotta get gravely sick in order to learn something. No, you understand that that sickness told you something so that you would never have to go back there again. But maybe you were unaware before. Maybe you didn't realize how you were treating yourself or how you were allowing other people to treat you, and that psychosomatic condition manifested in that ways. But now when you know better, you do better, because there's a little bit of like, don't want to be there again. I'm not going to do that. You know, you burn your hand on the stove, you're not going to put it back there. So ultimately, this healing is readily available and accessible to you, and you can have it if you want it. I am a Reiki master teacher and intuitive, and today we have a special healing session. It is all about finding love in babies. You know, I've been talking about love. I've been talking about love for a long time, and I know that we can all appreciate love because it comes in different forms. And usually when somebody clicks on a video like this, they trying to find romantic love. But there's an understanding that the foundation of any type of love comes from kind of the same place. And so we're going to work through that in our healing today. So welcome, 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 babies. And so for all of my new babies, welcome. This is your self-care routine, your journey, you know, a safe space for you to be just in a very loving community and just work on yourself. So welcome, welcome, welcome to my new babies, and welcome, welcome, welcome back to all of my retarded babies. Mama loves you, and I'm gonna go give you some kisses. I spoil you too much. Psych. So, we're gonna get started. We start our session off with a prayer. It's not a religious prayer. It's just a prayer to root us in our individual healing experience and bring us together as a community and as a collective. And because consent matters, do I have your permission to say a prayer? Okay. May I touch you? Okay. Close your eyes, relax. Keep your eyes open if you want to see what's happening. It's pretty much this, but relax, okay? Inhale. Exhale. Dear universe, in all of the highest vibrational good only, please connect us to our highest self and validate information for our highest good only. Please allow us to release what we need to let go and embrace what allows us to grow. Let our journey encompass our lineages, traditions, religions, and spiritual paths that bring light out through us to share with others. I say all of this in the name of I am. Ashe. Ashe, Ashe. Okay. Okay. And let your Ashe be in the wind, or your chi, or your Reiki, or your life force energy. Many different cultures and customs, and to explain this phenomenon, which is life force energy, and that's really kind of the basis of energy healing. And so as you go around the world and you go throughout time, there are different examples of energy healers, shamans, and I'm using the word shaman, but understand that where you go in the world, they have their own distinct name, distinct practices, but it really is just the human experience within those cultures, trying to explain this energy or this connectedness that we all have access to. And I think the really cool thing about it is you get to choose based off of your lineage, your culture, and your understanding and your choice where or how you want to consume that information. There's no wrong answers. There's no right answers. You know, it's whatever makes you feel comfortable. And that's what this self-care journey is about. Just giving yourself permission to make yourself feel comfortable. So let's get into the finding love. I'll work on the aura a little bit, and we're just going to get right through to it, okay? Finding love starts. You already know where I'm gonna go. Right here. If you do not love yourself, if you do not have self-respect, and if you do not learn how to value yourself and prioritize yourself, it's really hard to expect that you will receive that from anyone outside of you. And if you do receive that and you're not giving it to yourself, it starts to look very codependent. Sometimes people will love bomb you in order to then try to siphon your energy off on the back end. Or maybe you might be the person energy vampiring. It's no judgment here. Everybody is on their own path. I think sometimes it might appear like there's just bad people and then there's good people for these things that just happen in love. We've all been on both sides in love. And if you think you haven't, then you probably have. But at the end of the day, a lot of the things that people do, whether it is to not see how beautiful and how valuable they are, or to try to use fear or these other kind of tactics in order to dominate others, really comes from a sense of insecurity inside the self. And if you want to find love, you have to balance those things. And it really is taking some time and just working on you, going inside of you, working on the you that is here. And it looks different for different people, and there's different things that you can do. It's up to you what you want to do, but you kind of have to have this keeping it real moment with yourself. Hey, this is where I'm at. And you really have to challenge what you believe love is, because a lot of times we're stuck wanting the right love, but our parameters, our expectations, our goals, our value systems that we think love is completely bonkers. We haven't reevaluated it. We built those systems from pain, from discomfort, from trying to live out other people's dreams or expectations, from taking that, energy on from other people. And it's almost like if you can figure this out, if you can get this love from this weird system that we all have within us, if you can get it, it kind of rights the wrongs of all the past. It's like those parents who try to live out their life in their kids, because then it makes everything better but for them in their past. But the reality is you can't live through someone, you cannot control someone. They have their own dreams and hopes and things like that. So understanding and finding the right love is you need to question what you value as love, because a lot of times trauma, codependency, these things are being kind of wrapped up in a blanket and presented as if this is love. I'd die for you, I'd disrespect myself for you, I'd sacrifice myself for you, I'd make myself look foolish, all of these things to show how much I care for you. That's toxic. That is not an environment that is really good for the nervous system long term. That doesn't even make sense. Oh yeah, that might be cute, because then in a very big external way you can tell other people, friends, families, the collective community, look at how much this person likes you, because you think that those demonstrations would reflect them holding you down later on in life. First and foremost, life is hard enough. You do not have to do all that, or you do not have to expect that from other people. And understanding that love, when it comes from within, that stuff on the outside is going on the inside too, okay? So that's why we have to take a look at ourselves, and the way to get over that energy, if you just feel like, oh, it's never the right person, is you really have to love and deeply love and nurture and take care of yourself. You really gotta wine and dine yourself. You really have to be okay being alone. That doesn't mean you're not out there dating. That doesn't mean you're not out there, trying. But the core of your focus during this time of healing and rejuvenating and regenerating your energy is yourself. So you have to have enough courage to say, I want to see myself. I want to see the beauty here. I don't need someone outside of me to validate it. I'm going to see it within myself. And the things that I feel are beautiful. And beauty isn't just the physical, it's the energetic, it's the mental, it's all of that kind of stuff. The things that I feel like are beautiful, that's what I want others to value, or that's what I would like to value within other people. And that, at the end of the day, everybody has their preference. Everybody has, what they like, their style. But it's deeper than that. And I am in no way telling anyone to go against what their external preference is. That's your business, But make sure that the preference you like and you want is based off of something that you like and you want, not what you have been told to like and want. Or maybe you like a variety of things, a variety. Think about SpongeBob. A variety of things, okay? So, finding that love. Now, love it shows up everywhere in a very similar way. So if we have that love stuff happening in relationships, it's happening in friendships and family. And sometimes you have a hyper focus in one area. So say you're a relationship person. Maybe your friendships don't go through that kind of stuff, in your family it doesn't go through that kind of same dynamics. It's a little bit more balanced, but it's just love, Or maybe you're a friendship person and you got the big friendships, a lot of stuff happening, but maybe love not so much, and maybe family yes or no. Or sometimes you can have all three. And then on top of that, how you feel about yourself. Now, there are certain times where we might feel like, well, family is fine, my community, collective friendships are fine, love is fine, and I just don't feel good. Now, if that is a space, then we're dealing with the soul, the esoteric, and medical. So soul, esoteric, medical, and I'll just kind of break it down to, let's just say, the spiritual, energetic, energy, and medical. Because if all of those other things are pretty much fine, but you still feel like, I just don't feel loved, I don't feel the love, I don't have that. On a soul level, on an energetic level, the soul is seeking and the soul is searching, and maybe you're trying to find a deeper love or connection with the divine, the universe, what some call God, some call, other cultures call different things. And if you don't have a connection, or you don't want to use that language, that's fine too. Whatever it is for you. I tell you all the time, it's not my business to tell you what to think. That's your business, and feel free to change it and go. This is an inclusive, collective space where a lot of people think a lot of different things. We just here to feel good about ourselves. But yeah, trying to understand this phenomena of the unknown, that connectedness energy between me and you. So that's one experience. And so that can lead us to wanting to enrich our knowledge of spiritual, energetic, esoteric, things. It can be religious in certain instances, because we're looking for a deep divine soul love, and understand that that is the same thing as self-love. If we're looking for that, if that's the main thing, we are looking for self-love. And if we're looking for self-love, we are connected to that, whatever that is for you. So that's what's going on there. And then I also say on the medical side, and I actually talk about this when I go on my nutrition or my nutrigenomics kind of rants, where there are certain medical conditions that a person can have in which just the homeostasis or the balance of the body is off. And I'm not talking about what I think some people think, which is, there's just something wrong with the brain chemistry, which, yes, I'm trying to say, but they kind of think about, oh, I was just born this way with something wrong with this. And kind of mutations in which people are just born with these kind of deep feelings of sorrow and sadness and anxiety and depression aren't as frequent as we might think. But it doesn't mean that the person isn't experiencing those things. What may be happening, and I go on these rants all the time, is that we have common micronutrients, our vitamins and things like that, that are off. And they're throwing the systems in our body off. And when those things are off, some of the byproducts are anxiety, depression, brain fog, feeling exhausted, all of these other things that we may be attributing solely to trying to recover from traumatic experience, or just that's just how the brain is. So there's multiple levels, and of course those other things matter too. So when we're looking for this love, we gotta narrow down, what do we truly want to focus on? And you can focus on an array of things. That's completely okay. But it's not, don't put all the pressure in one place. So if, family, friends, and love are feeling good, but it's these other areas I'm talking about, don't put the pressure on the family or the friends and love to make up for. This is where you need to explore. If those sides are pretty good and you need to balance something over here, out here with this family, friends, and love, don't put the pressure on this. And what this looks like is, it looks like religiosity, where someone gets hyper focused in their religion, and instead of working on the dynamics of developing emotional intelligence and communicating with others, they kind of just feel like I'm very stuck to religious beliefs. It happens the same in spirituality, spiritual esoteric cultures, any of the wisdom traditions, or any of, this knowledge of trying to connect to the divine. People can also be obsessive, because the reason why they get obsessive is they feel like, oh, this is the one area where, this supersedes anything else. You see it actually a lot in religion. Oh, the religious aspect supersedes everything else. So if I have behavior that is unhealthy for me here, no one's gonna say anything about it. That's why a lot of times, and this is just my personal opinion, you see people suffering from mental health related episodes kind of just running freely and unsupported in certain religious dynamics, almost in a kind of way to keep them there, keep them in that kind of dynamic. Because if they are obsessed over something that is not unhealthy, but also a byproduct is being a devout, whatever that is, the poor behavior or the unhealthy behavior or the self-damaging behavior is still allowed to run free. Now, I said all of this to say to you, when it comes to finding love, we work on multiple levels, we work on multiple levels, and I will really kind of open you up to say, if you're really pining for someone, like you have somebody in mind and you just want them to think about you, I know, because I'm like, they're thinking about you right now, but you want them to think about you, just understand that what is for you will be for you. You can't force anybody, to want you. Now, can you make someone think about you, make them, manifest them into your life? Of course you can. But do you really want that person? Now, on the other side, so you're in a space where you're like, I've worked on myself, I'm working on myself, and I'm ready to be in a happy and healthy relationship. The person just has not come yet, and I want them to be thinking of me. You could do that too. Now, let's be honest, you're the only one who's gonna know. You're the only one who's gonna know. You could tell me, Jet, like, hey, the latter, not the former. I would know the difference because, that's up to you. That's up to you to regulate those kinds of things. So, you have in every ability the ability to find the love that you are looking for, that you are seeking in your life. And you do not have to be afraid. You do not have to be fearful. It is coming. Be patient, but work on yourself on these many levels that we're talking about, and don't be afraid of one area. Sometimes people don't want to go down the esoteric or the medical aspect or the self-reflecting aspect or seeking help from a healthcare professional or a mental health professional or communities and collectives or an energy healing practitioner, or as I prefer, a combination of all of these, great energies to help. Some people don't want to, but it's okay. See it like this. Don't see it as I have a problem that needs solving. See it as if I am lucky enough to afford or have access to all of these people that can help me take care of myself, I'm going to do it. And along the way and along the journey, you think, oh, the love, I want this person, to be thinking about me. But really what you need to be thinking is, I want my doctor to be thinking about me to resolve this. Because you can find somebody, it ain't hard to find somebody. But it may be hard if you have been misdiagnosed with certain issues to balance those things internally, So take the pressure off yourself and get a little bit more balance. So, unconventional approach to finding love, but you know me, unconventional kind of gal, okay? So, sweetness, I hope you have enjoyed the session, babies, and I just try to sprinkle, self-confidence on you each and every day, because it is important for me that you are out here thriving, happy, healthy. Confidence is key. Okay, sweetness, I just want to let you know that I love you, but who cares that I love you? The only thing that matters is that you love you. Feel free to fall asleep to it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pluck away any doubts, any anxiety, any insecurity, any confusion, past pain, so that you can be free of that. I want you, sweetness, to feel as good as you possibly can feel in a world that you can make into your own. Okay. Knowing that you are more than enough. That what lives within you is confidence, reassurance, patience, view of what's going on. Okay. Just keep breathing. Okay. What I feel is a lot of change, a lot of movement, but also a strong sense of knowing that whatever is happening is for the greatest good. So, I think you need to hear this, and it's, you are enough and you can do it. You are enough and you can do it. You are enough and you can do it. So I'm going to go in and align your chakras so that you can be very receptive to this. But just know you are enough and you can do it. Sweetness. So sweet. So lovely. So deserving. Okay. 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 Now, let's remove any extra energy or fluff. Gently just moving away any of that stuff that's taking up too much space and preventing you from seeing and really trusting and surrendering to the universe, knowing that everything will always work out. It's gonna work out, sweetness. It is going to work out. It may feel hard right now. You might not think it will, but it will work out. So just know that 90% of the battle is right here. permission to touch you. Okay. So just putting that on one cheek. Then the other one. Maybe the chin. And then smoothing it through. How are you feeling? I think it's important to check in with you so that you know yourself, and that is more than enough. Know that you're always welcome back to our community, a place of peace, blessings, but just people who want to see you blossom and bloom. You come back anytime, whenever you need, okay? Well, family, I really enjoyed myself today, but I want you to know that I love you. So if you haven't heard anyone say it to you today, or even if you didn't talk to anybody today, if you forgot to say it to yourself, always remember to say it to yourself. I love you. You gotta tell yourself you love yourself, because that's the only person who really matters when it comes to this thing called life. Well, family, I'm just gonna smooth over your aura, seal you with the sign of the infinity, and say, if no one has said it, wash your hands for at least 30 seconds. Don't touch your face. Wear a mask in public, and be sweet to yourself, my little sweetness. Love you, love you, love you, love you. So until next time, bye. Go back to my returning babies. Mama loves you. Okay. So we start our session off with a prayer. It is not a religious prayer. It is just a prayer to root us in our individual healing experience and to bring us together as a community and as a collective. And because consent matters, to have your permission to say a prayer. May it touch you. Dear universe, and all for the highest vibrational good only, please connect us to our highest self and validate information for our highest good only. Please allow us to release what we need to let go and embrace what allows us to grow. Let our journey encompass the lineages, traditions, religions, and spiritual paths that bring light out through us to share with others. I say all of this in the name of I Am. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Okay. Love shows up in many ways in our life. And if this is not your first time here with me, you know I really emphasize self-love being the key to having healthy love and healthy loving dynamics. But love can teach us a whole lot of things. It can teach us patience, kindness. It can help us self-reflect to make changes. And sometimes love is one of those only areas where we will allow ourselves to be vulnerable enough to explore and make changes. Even if you don't consider yourself a person who is vulnerable with others, the fact that you even have that awareness in that space of love is much more than, perhaps other dynamics in a person's life. But love carries messages. Always feel that when you connect to the universe, divine, God, or whatever it is that you specifically believe in, I tell you all the time, that's your business to figure out what you believe in. That ain't got nothing to do with me. But when you connect to whatever is out there, that is pure, unconditional love. Unconditional. And I talked about this before. A lot of people have fear-based love. Fear-based love in their faith, their spiritual path, their religion. Fear-based love in their relationships, family, romantic, platonic. Fear-based in themselves, being super critical. And I am of the perspective that if love is unconditional, it has to be unconditional. As someone who really enjoys history, like y'all know I love history, like I will go down, and I mean like human history, like I go down random tangents about us as a species, as someone who is like that, what I've noticed as I've learned more and more is that a lot of fear base that is surrounding faith of your understanding of the divine is conditional, you make your own self-love conditional as well. But the core of your structure with the divine, the universe, is unconditional. You then stop requiring yourself to have to be at a certain place in life, have to have a certain thing before you start loving yourself and really truly appreciating yourself. And that can be really hard to realize because we live in society. You know, we have societal norms, different societies, different norms, but us as a species, we tend to kind of collect in groups. And in order to be accepted by a group, whether that is, you know, a clique or a larger society, there are certain norms and there are certain rules. And the moment that a person realizes that on the individual journey, the rules are not as helpful, maybe on a social, systemic kind of group dynamic is a little bit different, but on an individual level, those rules are not helpful. I think it puts the person in this kind of existential crisis, because what do you do when everything around you is reinforcing a type of toxic love, but you truly are on your healing path to something better? Now, it doesn't mean that all societies are bad because they have rules and stuff like that. You know, it probably would be complete anarchy if there weren't any rules. But I think that we can, you know, I think that we can separate and coexist between the two. We can be in a world where there are certain rules and expectations, but what is, you know, great for the gander may not be good for the goose. You know, I hear this all the time because what I notice when I look at kind of like the big picture of things is a lot of people want to get out of whatever they're stuck in. Maybe they're stuck in relationship dynamics that are not working. Maybe they're stuck in a certain socio-economic situation. Maybe they're stuck in a certain health condition and they want to get out of it, but they will only use the parameters that have already been preset in order to be successful. Versus as an individual, there are numerous ways, you know, millions of ways to get out of whatever is holding you back. But when you go by already pre-established routes, there's only thousands of ways or maybe hundreds of ways, so it limits you. So I'm of the perspective that any person can completely, drastically change their life on their own. But just because you drastically change your life doesn't mean that society will drastically change how it interacts with you. Does that make sense? We gonna get to the love, babies, but I just kind of want to explain to why these seeds are planted for how people could, you know, feel about love. But just because you drastically change your life doesn't mean society follows through. I am still a black woman. I'm still a gay woman. I'm still a woman who, you know, comes from a lot of marginalized backgrounds. I'm in no confusion of, you know, the scenarios and situations that I can see in the world. But I also am an individual who is strongly connected with their internal path. So I don't really see any obstacles for me. Like, things seem like when I want something or when there's something that is in my focus, I feel like, oh, I can see how it's attainable. And I think I don't want as much as I used to. When I kind of looked at things from a social perspective, I wanted more. But as an individual perspective, I feel like I have so much already. I don't want as much. And I think what I do want is typically I want things to be more meaningful. And can I do something that is more meaningful? And what amount of effort really goes into that? Versus on a social or a societal level, the energy is different. The energy is like, you know, wanting the collective. Let me not say collective, because I feel like collective, I want to use society. Well, I'll accept myself as much as society accepts me. And if you have a bunch of marginalized identities, that's going to be very difficult. Also, if you have more privileged identities, it's also going to be difficult to make changes. It's going to be difficult to want to transform the soul, because if society is propping you up, it's going to be hard to make changes in love. It's going to be hard to make changes in how you see the world and actually doing more meaningful things, because why would you? So I said all of that to say, you are never truly stuck. If you ever feel like in love that you don't have the love you're looking for, that the right person has not shown up, that you just don't feel good about yourself, that you feel very conditional, like, oh, when I look this way, or when I have this thing, or when I'm at this space, or when I make this amount of money, or whatever it is for you, then the right person, I hope the right person shows up, or I hope that my parent will treat me right, or I hope that or I'll be surrounded by friends that are X, Y, and Z. Baby, when you put conditions on the love that you have for yourself, love will never come. It won't come, or it will come in a very conditional way. And the crazy thing about it is you'll probably outgrow the condition before it shows up in your life. So having this connection to the universe in a very unconditional way of just, universe, love on me. I'ma love myself, I was like, I'm gonna love on myself. Universe, love me. And I'ma love myself. I'ma love myself wholly, because I think the most respectful thing that we can do as, energy in the universe is to just be grateful to be energy in the universe. To evolve. I think that in our evolution as a species, in our evolution on this planet, all of the living things on this planet, we're moving closer and closer and closer to a higher understanding of things. Earlier in our species, okay, this is my little tangent. Earlier on in our species, we probably were much more fight or flight. We probably, well, actually, I would think that, single-celled organisms just getting there and learning to develop like eyes and, hearing stuff, but let's say we're jumping in time and, we're kind of fully formed beings now, and we're much more, fight or flight. We're much more in just in that moment, in that adrenaline, just trying to survive by, finding our meals and things like that, which is, unfortunately in a modern world, people are still trying to survive to simply just get meals. And, during those times, it would make sense that our body would be in a constant state of anxiety to keep us alive. Now, it doesn't really make sense. And the anxiety probably comes from, we have a lot of stimulation, we have a lot of mental stimulation, we have a lot of information. This is the age of information, so we have a lot of information being thrown at us at one time, and that can just completely boggle down the brain. The brain needs rest. Even if we're not physically taking movement, the brain still needs rest. And if you have all of these social norms, this is how you should be in love, this is how a relationship should go, this is how you should love yourself. Nope, I changed it. That's how that you should love yourself. It can just be so overwhelming on various levels. And so when I say love is healing, what I'm saying to that is you have to separate yourself from the individual and the systemic. When you really want to work on making changes, when you really want to transform your life, you got to sit in the individual energy and say, fuck all this shit. I'm gonna be over here in the individual, and I'm going to drastically change things. I'm not gonna let people treat me crazy. I'm not gonna treat people crazy. Any goal that I want it to be meaningful. I don't want to just say I want something. I want it to be meaningful. Anything that is in my heart is possible to happen. And if it doesn't happen, it's because there's something bigger and greater along the path. a fifth, but that's the energy. And sometimes you got to separate yourself from people. You cannot be around the people who are not vibrating at the energetic level you're at and expect to make changes. That's your fans, your family, and that's romance. Okay? Sometimes you got to let those people go as you are growing. And then of course you can re-invite them, or you will meet new people and things like that. But if you feel like you're suffering in love, you haven't found the right person, take a step back and really just love on yourself. Take care of yourself. Take a break, from that energy and just treat yourself. Demonstrate to yourself how you would want a partner to treat you. Demonstrate to yourself how you would want your family to treat you. Demonstrate to yourself how you want your friends to treat you. And after a while, you set a standard for yourself. You create a routine for yourself. You create an expectation. So when you reintroduce yourself to your family or new people, you expect a certain thing, and they gotta straighten up or ship out. They cannot be in your energy, in your space, if they don't do that. But when you never take yourself out of that environment, you will constantly make excuses to kind of drag people along and allow them to treat you in a type of way. And the way we allow people to treat us is a reflection of how deserving we feel of love. And the purpose of love is not that. The purpose of love is healing. If you've ever had like a really difficult medical condition that you've got to the other side, some experience a sense of, wow, this was trying to tell me something. And seeing the beauty in even kind of the darkest of those times. But also, it doesn't mean that now you just have to live by a standard where you gotta get gravely sick in order to learn something. No, you understand that sickness told you something so that you would never have to go back there again. But maybe you were unaware before. Maybe you didn't realize how you were treating yourself or how you were allowing other people to treat you, and that psychosomatic condition manifested in that ways. But now when you know better, you do better, because there's a little bit of like, don't want to be there again. I'm not going to do that. You burn your hand on the stove, you're not going to put it back there. This is your night self-care routine. A place where you work on yourself, a place where you heal, a place where you take care of yourself. And if you're new, you're my new babies. And if you're returning, you're my returning babies. Mama loves you. So excited to share this moment, this space, and all of this grace with you. Just made that up. So we start our session off with a prayer. It is not a religious prayer. It is a prayer to root us in our individual healing experience and to bring us together as a community and as a collective. And because consent matters, to have your permission to say a prayer. Okay, let's begin. Dear universe, and all for the highest vibrational good only, please connect us to our highest self and validate information for our highest good only. Please allow us to release what we need to let go and embrace what allows us to grow. Let our journey encompass the lineages, traditions, religions, and spiritual paths that bring light out through us to share with others. I say all of this in the name of I Am. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. So let's begin. Let's start to move away those layers of self-doubt that ever made you question yourself or ever made you feel like you weren't good enough. Let's send them somewhere else, because here is not the place that it needs to be. Just keep doing this, sending it on in its evolutionary path, and just inhale and exhale for me. Let's just work through this energy around you and create an opening for you to feel better, to feel something different, to feel refreshed, renewed, to feel a unique sense of yay. And so work through all of this and just work through it. Okay. something else, somewhere and somewhere else, and pulling it out, 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 pulling, 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 and moving it through, moving it through. It's like kind of weaving a blanket, taking the feelings that no longer work and weaving them into a blanket so that they can be captured and maintained where they're at. I'm sure we have plenty of folklore and many wisdom traditions that probably incorporate that. Keep breathing. Just weaving in and out, in and out, and just pull it, pull it, pull it, pull it, pull it away. Remove it. Remove it. Keep breathing here. Letting go of any kind of need to hold on to the past and releasing the past. Choosing a path that works for you. Choosing a path that makes you feel whole and feel important and feel peaceful and feel loved and feel certain. Breathe in and out. Keep going. Just move it. 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 Checking in with you now. How do you feel? What's coming up for you? What are you noticing in this moment? What are you realizing in this moment? What is important for you in this moment? Where do you need to have that soft, nurturing energy applied to in your life at this moment? Don't be so hard on yourself. It's okay. 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 It's gonna be okay. Everything is going to be alright. It's okay. 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 Where are you at in life right now? What needs cleansing? What needs healing? What needs space and peace? What needs understanding? What needs compassion? What needs healing? What needs hope? 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 Just working through, pulling this through. Just unweaving those aspects of you that you're ready to let go of and placing it into the energy. Now, I'd love for someone in the comment section to let me know one of the wisdom traditions that we have out here that incorporates weaving as a way to remove energy that no longer serves us. That's a wonderful way for us to maintain and share that knowledge. Just breathing, breathing. Breathing. Okay. 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 Keep going. 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 Okay. Just move through this energy. Just move through this energy and feel better. Feel better. And feel better. And feel better. It's alright. Okay. Move through the energy. Move through the energy. Move through the energy. Move through the energy. Move through it. Move through it. Find your way through. Find your way to the other side. Feel yourself becoming more connected, becoming lighter, becoming more whole in the experience. Stay focused on you. Stay focused on you. Stay focused on you. Stay focused on you. Well, family, I hope you enjoyed our session today, and I hope you're taking care of yourself. Remember that no matter what you're going through in life, you have the ability to still have a beautiful and quality life. Sometimes the stuff that happens to us on a temporary basis feels like it's big, feels like it's gonna last forever, but it's just a couple of moments. And you have to ask yourself during those times of difficulties, how do you respond? What's going on the inside? Are you going to be ready for the bigger things that show up in your life? Because how you respond, how you deal with things that happen on a smaller level, gives you a glimpse of if you will be able to handle things on a larger level. So if you're ready to move on, you're ready to take yourself to another level of your evolution and your growth, you have to learn how to handle things on smaller levels so that you'll be able and be prepared to handle things on bigger levels. Well, babies, if no one has said it, let me go ahead and say it. Wash your hands for at least 30 seconds. Don't touch your face. Wear a mask in public and wear them gloves too, baby. And be sweet to yourself. And if no one has said it, let me go ahead and say it. I love you. So we're going to be removing blockages, restoring the energy you need, getting rid of old foundational patterns and all of that stuff. So if you're new to the community, welcome, 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 babies. This is your nightly self-care routine, a place where you relax, you chill, and you just take care of yourself. You can enjoy the session, you can fall asleep, or you can set this time aside to just work on yourself and work on your self-care journey, your self-love journey. This is a special time because it is a Mercury in retrograde period that is coming up, and we're going to be working through this here. So this is going to be added support for you on this journey. So it's probably better that you start tuning in now than as soon as it goes retrograde on May 10th. That's when the issues really going to hit the fan. If you need additional support for that on Patreon, we're having a double month for May and June. So that's daily, weekly, and monthly resources that's going to be used to help during this period, to help guide you during this period. And this theme is all about self-worth. So self-worth and self-worth, baby. So you got to be making decisions of who am I? These big questions are going to show up, and they've been very cyclical over the years. So today we're going to just start to cut away kind of the old stuff that might want us to react in ways that aren't best during this time period. Old ways that no longer longer serve us that need to be released. Okay. And so if you're new, we start our session off with a prayer. It is not a religious prayer. It is just a prayer to root us in our individual healing experience and to bring us together as a community and as a collective. And because consent matters, sweetness, do I have your permission to say a prayer? Okay. May I grab your hand? Okay. Take a deep breath. Inhale. Exhale. Let's begin. Dear universe, in all for the highest vibrational good only, please connect us to our highest self and validate information from our highest intention only. Please allow us to release what we need to let go and embrace what allows us to grow. Let our journey encompass the lineages, traditions, religions, and spiritual paths that brings light out through us to share with others. I say all of this in the name of I Am. Ashe. 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 Okay. So, let's begin by working through boundaries. It is very important to restore healthy boundaries during a time of release and letting go, okay? And healthy boundaries, that's everything from people, situations, circumstances, and mentality. And this also encourages us to take responsibility for the areas where we kind of don't hold firm and strong boundaries. It's not always everybody else that is the problem. Sometimes we are just open, to other people more than we're open to our own selves. Because we're looking for someone else to be the hero. We're looking for someone else to give us confidence, to help us believe in ourselves. When the reality is, it has to come from ourselves first. So we're letting go of this kind of hero complex. So we're going to release any of that old stuff. And also, it's a mentality that forms because when you're younger and you deal with things and you feel helpless and you're feeling at the whim of the adults around you, there is this feeling of wanting someone to come and save you, or wanting some situation to come and solve all your problems. And 9 times out of 10, that situation typically doesn't come, and you figure out on your own how to get to the next level. But this is something you should be very proud of, that you figured it out, you got yourself out of there. A lot of times people then resent the fact they had to do that, and they still are kind of living in that moment, hoping that some person or some situation or something is going to come and solve all their problems. They don't think they're doing it because the older you get, the more kind of clever you get. You start calling it something else. You start verbalizing it or naming it in a way that the people around your society would be accepting of that, Baby, you got this. You have 100% track record of getting through stuff. So don't worry. You will figure it out, but you also have to celebrate the fact that you made it through all of that. In times where you felt like it was difficult, you felt like it was hopeless, you may have felt helpless, you may have felt that you were not in control of your life, and now you are. And if you are in control of your life now, you cannot continue to let yourself be out of control of your life by living in the past. Breathing through this. And so, we build a lot of foundational habits here. Let me just get on that. We build a lot of foundational habits here, and we start to think that we want our life to be better, but we don't want to change how we go about it because we think that what we feel is the norm, and we just want life to then be into whatever weird habits we learned growing up. Let me give you an example. Perhaps you didn't get a lot of attention, or people didn't prioritize your needs and your wants. So now you feel like in order to feel accomplished, you need a lot of attention. And even when you're successful at things, if it doesn't come with large attention, you feel like you may not be that successful. When in reality, the universe is blessing you with what you deserve. But it's time for you to change your habits, your mentality, your vision of how to receive it. You do not have to live out standards from back then when you weren't getting everything you needed. You can now live to the standards of, I receive what I need. The universe provides for me. I will go out there and get what I need. I will handle my responsibilities, X, Y, and Z, and all that jazz, okay? That's what you're working with now. But you gotta change, or you're gonna miss some good opportunities, baby. I see it all the time. I see people fumble bags, opportunities. I see people fumble people because they miss this big concept that the universe is blessing them, is giving them what they're looking for, is providing them with what they need. And they're still stuck in limiting beliefs. Also, I've recently been exploring a dopamine detox, and that, simply put, is that, if you have a lot of this mindless stuff that you do, say your mindless thing that you do is watch TV or scroll on YouTube or Instagram or something like that, and you just do it for hours and hours and hours, but come back to me, but you do it for hours and hours and hours. This is creating this positive, like, oh, I like that, but also it's kind of making your brain, it's like giving your brain sugar constantly. So it's really hard to then live in reality and know that things take time, that you don't get instant gratification, that it kind of fucks with your nervous system, to be honest, because that's really not how reality is. That's just purely entertainment. And so this kind of detox is more of like you're very, you limit the time. Like you say, okay, I'm just gonna do it for an hour at this time. And you go and you do it for an hour, or you say, you know what, I'm gonna be very precise. I'm actually gonna only look up this kind of stuff today, and I'm gonna stay away from that kind of stuff. And whatever you need to, where it can kind of just give your nervous system a break. You could do that with that way. You can also do it by how you eat. Oh my gosh, that's one of the most important way to release blockages, is how you eat. Eating a lot of good vegetables, green vegetables, non-starchy, resistant carbohydrates. I know now I'm getting a lot into nutrition. Nice hearty fat sources, because people don't really understand how it works in the body. It's not like you eat fat and then it turns into fat in your body. No, fat is what your body uses to regulate the brain. And so our ability to regulate our mind is highly dependent on receiving adequate amounts of healthy fats and things like that. Our body works off of carbohydrates, but the type of carbohydrates that are slow absorbing, not this like refined sugar and stuff. And the protein is what keeps us full. It keeps our muscles growing, things like that. So you have to be mindful of how you treat your body. It is this kind of full circle moment here. And these are some things you can do in order to remove these blockages and shift your life. Also, what you listen to and who you're around, baby. When I say that one of the most important and fulfilling things you can do and healing things you can do is to change your circle, I mean it 1,000%. Change your circle. Get around people, or if you just need to be by yourself during this time, get around people or be by yourself where you can just be balanced in your energy. Sometimes you don't know what you need when you're in transition to your next chapter, and you also may attract people who don't know what they need, and that can kind of just create this perpetual. And if you start to love and care for these people, then you want to stay connected with them, so you might feel like you're betraying them once you figure out what you need and they still don't know what they want to do. Blah, 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 blah. Don't worry about that. Get you some people who are where you want to go or going in the direction you want to go, or just take some time with yourself. So just going to balance your energy right now and move this space and time. I always get very self-conscious on the channel when I start talking about nutrition because I'm so into it, and then I also feel like it can just be like I'm here for this energy healing, girl. I'm about to eat what I want to eat. But again, it is so important. It is so important. And I hope to actually do some more nutrition related stuff because it's just so important for how we feel. A lot of times when people are feeling bad, their nutrition is horrible, full of foods that maybe aren't good for their particular system, full of very refined sugars and stuff like that. You know, carbs are not the problem. The issue is these very refined sugars, and they are messing with our nervous system. Again, if you want to eat a dessert, that's fine, but the amount of sugar that we have in processed foods is ridiculous. You might eat something that is savory and it's still filled with sugar. And also this kind of fat phobia of not wanting to consume fat is crazy. It's super important for healthy brain function. So these are really simple ways to change how you feel if you're not feeling good, by being mindful of what you eat and consume, and that you're consuming enough. You're eating enough food, but you're eating food that's really good for your body and your particular body, because everybody has their own health concerns, their own things that they want to be mindful for. And here's one of these things: for the older you get, it's it stops being what you look like on the outside, and it starts being like, how does your blood work look? How does your skin look? Like the parameter starts to change, because you start to realize all of that superficial shit you cared about when you were a child doesn't really matter when you're an adult. You know that real health is wealth, and you can look very in shape and not have good health, and you can be the non-conventional, image of health and be full of health. And so it's important now to establish deeper understandings of what you want, who you are, what makes you feel happy, what balances you. Having an emotional and mental supportive system as well too. What you say to yourself, what daily routines that you have, super important as well too. Whether that's meditation, listening to affirmations, it can be kind of walking and listening to music, or if you go to the gym, it kind of gives you just a routine to do something, or maybe you take a walk around the block. Believe me, walking is the cheapest and most accessible way to get connected to your health and making yourself feel good. And it helps the body's energetic system to naturally flush out any of these blockages. But I know it is not as sensational as you go in here and you're running 15 miles. Forget that. Just walk, or do something steady state, whatever accessible to you that you can. And that's a game changer right there. What you eat, oh, game changer as well too. So removing mentality blocks, accepting this next layer and next chapter in our lives, and being relaxed in at one. Inhale and exhale. 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 Just removing all that extra stuff. And I hope that when you spend time with me, you feel better. I hope that just our time together helps you. That is my intention. And I'm gonna stick to it. Just bring that in. Bring that in. Okay, relax. Okay. Baby, how do you feel? Do you feel good? Do you feel good? Do you feel like being in control of what makes you feel better? Letting go of old stuff is more available to you now. And sweetheart, you get to define what your next chapter is, what you want, what is important to you. No one else can, okay? So babies, if no one has said it, let me go ahead and say it. I love you. But who cares that I love you? The only thing that matters is that you love you. So make sure you love yourself a little bit more each and every day. Okay, sweetness.